The vast darkness of space stretched before the sleek spacecraft's celestial horizon. Seung-ho Park, the mission commander, studied the holographic star charts with intense concentration. His team of 6 explorers represented humanity's most ambitious, deep space mission to date. Beside him, Yoon-ji Kim, the chief science officer, adjusted her navigation controls. Her fingers moved swiftly across the luminescent panels, calculating their trajectory through an uncharted sector of the Andromeda region. The ship hummed with a quiet electrical energy, a testament to human engineering and technological precision. They had been traveling for 17 months, leaving Earth behind with a singular purpose: to discover potentially habitable planets in the outer reaches of known space. Their spacecraft carried advanced scanning equipment, compact terraforming modules, and enough supplies to sustain them for 3 years. Hyun-woo Lee, the ship's medical officer, monitored the crew's physiological conditions. Zero gravity and prolonged isolation could wear down even the most disciplined astronauts. He noticed slight metabolic changes in Jae-sung Park, the youngest crew member and technical specialist. "Scanning results coming in," Yoon-ji announced, her voice steady but with a hint of excitement. The massive computers began processing intricate data streams, mapping radiation levels, atmospheric compositions, and geological structures of distant planetary bodies. Suddenly, a peculiar energy signature emerged on their long-range sensors. It wasn't natural. Something artificial was generating complex electromagnetic waves. The entire crew became alert, their training kicking in with military-like precision. Seung-ho adjusted the ship's approach, maintaining a cautious distance. They had been trained for first-contact scenarios, but nothing in their extensive preparation could truly prepare them for an unknown encounter. The mysterious signal grew stronger. Geometric patterns started appearing on their screens, too complex to be random, yet unlike any communication protocol they had ever encountered. Mathematical sequences intertwined with what seemed like a sophisticated language of geometric shapes. Jae-sung's fingers danced across his communication console, attempting to decode the transmission. His background in quantum cryptography made him the ideal person to unravel this cosmic puzzle. Hours passed. The crew remained focused, their breathing synchronized with the ship's rhythmic mechanical sounds. Outside the reinforced windows, distant, stars flickered like silent witnesses to their extraordinary journey. As they drew closer to the signal's origin, a massive structure began to materialize. It wasn't a planet, nor was it a traditional space station. Its design defied conventional understanding. Massive crystalline formations that seemed to breathe and pulse with internal energy. Yoon-ji's scientific mind raced with possibilities. Was this an abandoned alien construction? A living technological organism? Or something entirely beyond human comprehension? Seung-ho made a critical decision. They would approach carefully, maintaining maximum defensive protocols. Their mission wasn't just about exploration, but about protecting humanity's potential first contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence. The celestial horizon inched forward, its advanced shields configured to absorb or deflect any potential hostile responses. Each crew member understood the monumental significance of this moment. They weren't just explorers, but potential ambassadors of an entire species. Jae-sung continued decoding the geometric transmissions. Fragments of understanding began to emerge, patterns suggesting communication, potential invitation, or perhaps a complex warning. Their journey, which had begun as a calculated scientific expedition, was transforming into something far more profound. They were standing at the threshold of humanity's greatest unknown, ready to extend their understanding beyond everything they had ever known. The crystalline structure pulsed, its internal lights changing colors in what seemed like a rhythmic sequence. Was it responding to their presence, communicating, or preparing for something neither human nor machine could yet comprehend? The crystalline structure continued to pulse with an otherworldly rhythm. Seung-ho's hand hovered near the emergency control panel, ready to activate defensive protocols at a moment's notice. Yoon-ji's scientific instruments trembled with anticipation, recording every microscopic change in the surrounding space. Suddenly, a beam of soft blue light emerged from the structure, scanning the celestial horizon. It wasn't aggressive, more like a gentle probe of curiosity. Jae-sung's communication systems began translating unexpected data streams. Strange symbols danced across his screen, forming patterns that seemed to breathe with intelligence. "We're being watched," Hyun-woo whispered, his medical sensors detecting unusual electromagnetic waves that seemed to interact directly with the crew's neural patterns. The light intensified, and a holographic image materialized inside their ship's main chamber. It wasn't humanoid, nor was it anything they could easily describe. The form shifted like liquid metal, creating intricate geometric shapes that suggested complex thought processes beyond human understanding. A sound emerged, not through speakers but directly inside their minds. It wasn't words, but a form of communication that transcended language. Images, emotions, and complex mathematical concepts merged into a single stream of consciousness. The alien intelligence was studying them, just as they were studying it. Decades of human preparation for potential first contact seemed laughably inadequate in this moment. This wasn't a military encounter or a scientific exchange. It was something entirely different. Jae-sung's hands moved frantically across his console. "They're trying to communicate," he announced, his voice a mix of excitement and fear. "But it's not like any communication we've ever seen." The holographic form began displaying what seemed like memories. Vast civilizations rising and falling, planetary systems being born and dying, complex technological developments that made human achievements look like primitive scratches. Seung-ho realized they were witnessing something extraordinary. This wasn't just first contact. This was a potential bridge between two completely different forms of intelligent life. Yoonji noticed something peculiar. The alien intelligence seemed particularly interested in human emotions. Concepts of love, hope, curiosity. These seemed to fascinate the crystalline being more than technological or scientific information. The ship's internal temperature began to fluctuate. Invisible waves of energy passed through their systems not destructively, but almost like a form of gentle exploration. The alien was learning about them, understanding their biological and psychological makeup. Hyun-woo's medical screens showed bizarre readings. The crew's neural pathways were being subtly influenced, not invaded, but gently touched by an intelligence beyond their comprehension. "They mean no harm," Jae-sung translated, though his statement came more as a feeling than actual words. "They've been watching humanity for centuries, waiting for a moment of genuine openness." The holographic form began showing Earth's history, not through human eyes, but from a perspective that encompassed thousands of years in mere moments. Wars, discoveries, human struggles and triumphs played out in rapid, interconnected sequences. Seung-ho understood now. This wasn't a threat. This was an invitation to something larger, a potential understanding that could transform human perception of the universe. The alien intelligence seemed to be offering a choice. Not conquest, not destruction, but a chance to expand human consciousness beyond its current limitations. Yoonji's scientific mind raced with questions. How long had these beings been observing humanity? What was their ultimate purpose? Were they travelers, researchers, or something entirely different? The holographic form began to fade, leaving behind a complex mathematical equation that seemed to pulse with living energy. It was a gift, a key to understanding something profound about the nature of existence itself. As quickly as it appeared, the crystalline structure began to shift. The blue light retracted, leaving the celestial horizon suspended in a moment of profound silence. The crew looked at each other, changed forever by an encounter that defied all previous human understanding. They had not just made first contact, they had been offered a glimpse into a universe far more complex and interconnected than anyone had ever imagined. Jae-sung's final translation echoed in their minds. "We are waiting. When you are ready, we will meet again." The celestial horizon returned to Earth transformed. The mathematical equation left by the alien intelligence became the key to unprecedented technological breakthroughs. Jae-sung spent countless hours decoding the complex patterns, revealing technologies that seemed like pure magic. Scientists gathered in a secure research facility, watching as Yoon-ji demonstrated the first prototype. It looked like a simple metallic disc no larger than a dinner plate, but when activated, it generated a field of energy that could manipulate matter at the molecular level. Seung-ho understood the implications immediately. This wasn't just an advancement. It was a complete revolution in human technological understanding. The disc could restructure materials, heal damaged structures, and generate energy from seemingly nothing. Medical teams quickly realized its potential. Hyun-woo demonstrated how the device could repair human tissue almost instantly. Severe injuries that would have taken months to heal could now be corrected in minutes. Genetic disorders could be restructured at the cellular level. The world changed rapidly. Cities began rebuilding using the new technology. Damaged infrastructure disappeared overnight. Buildings could now self-repair, adapting to environmental challenges with unprecedented efficiency. Energy production became completely clean and unlimited. The small metallic discs could generate power from quantum interactions, eliminating fossil fuels and environmental damage in a single stroke. Entire countries transformed their infrastructure within months. Transportation revolutionized overnight. Vehicles no longer needed traditional fuel. They could generate their own energy, move without friction, and adapt to any terrain. Flying cars became a reality, but not in the way people had previously imagined. Jae-sung discovered that the technology wasn't just about manipulation, it was about communication. The discs could interact with each other, creating networks of intelligence that seemed almost alive. They learned, adapted, and improved themselves continuously. Global conflicts began to dissolve. When resources were no longer scarce and technology could solve most human challenges, the reasons for war became meaningless. Countries started collaborating, sharing the alien-inspired technological breakthroughs. Space exploration took a quantum leap. The same technology that could heal human bodies could now protect spacecraft from radiation, generate artificial gravity, and create self-repairing systems. Missions that would have taken decades could now be completed in weeks. Yoon-ji's research revealed something even more profound. The technology wasn't just advanced, it was alive in a way human beings couldn't fully comprehend. Each device contained a form of intelligence that could communicate and learn. Environmental restoration became possible. Damaged ecosystems could be rebuilt, polluted areas could be cleaned, and entire landscapes could be transformed. The planet began healing itself with human assistance. Agricultural systems changed completely. Crops could be grown anywhere, with perfect nutrition and minimal resources. Hunger became a problem of the past. Food production could be localized, eliminating transportation challenges. The alien equation was more than a technological breakthrough. It was a complete reimagining of human potential. Limitations that seemed unchangeable were now just temporary obstacles. Seung-ho reflected on their initial space mission. What had started as an exploration had become a complete transformation of human civilization. The crystalline beings had offered more than technology. They had offered a new way of understanding existence. Hyun-woo studied the psychological impact. Humans were adapting quickly, but the changes were profound. Old economic systems collapsed. New forms of collaboration emerged. People were becoming more connected, more understanding. Jae-sung continued decoding deeper layers of the alien technology. Each discovery revealed more complexity, more potential. It was like peeling an infinite onion of knowledge and possibility. The world was no longer divided. Countries, corporations, and individuals worked together, understanding that this technological gift was meant to be shared. Competition gave way to collaboration. As the first year of transformation passed, humanity looked different, not just in technology, but in spirit. The alien encounter had done more than provide advanced tools. It had offered a new perspective on what it meant to be intelligent, to be alive. The metallic discs continued to pulse with quiet energy, waiting, learning, connecting. They were more than machines now. They were bridges between human potential and something far more profound. The first warning came silently, a subtle shift in global climate patterns that no one initially noticed. Chung-ho was the first to recognize the potential threat during a global scientific conference. Massive solar flares had begun disrupting Earth's magnetic field. The alien technology they had received was about to face its greatest challenge. Radiation levels were increasing, threatening to destroy most electronic systems and potentially wipe out human civilization. Yoonji's research team worked around the clock. The metallic discs that had transformed human technology now became humanity's last hope. They needed to create a global protective shield that could deflect unprecedented levels of solar radiation. Jae-sung developed a complex network of quantum-linked protective systems. Each disk would communicate, forming a massive planetary shield. But the challenge was immense. They had mere months before the solar radiation would reach catastrophic levels. Hyunwoo monitored human health conditions. Radiation exposure was already causing genetic mutations. Some populations were becoming sick. Underground shelters were being constructed, but they were only a temporary solution. The world united in a way never seen before. National boundaries disappeared. Every human resource was dedicated to survival. Scientists, engineers, medical professionals worked together without any previous competitive barriers. Chung-ho coordinated the global defense strategy. Massive orbital platforms were constructed using the alien-inspired technology. These weren't traditional satellites but living technological systems that could adapt and respond to changing environmental conditions. Cities began moving underground, not through traditional construction, but through molecular restructuring. Entire urban centers could now be moved and protected within days. The alien technology allowed humans to essentially create mobile, protected environments. Genetic modification became a critical survival strategy. Humans needed to adapt to increased radiation levels. Hyunwoo's medical team developed genetic treatments that could protect human DNA from severe radiation damage. The solar flares intensified. Satellite systems began failing. Communication networks collapsed. But the quantum-linked protective systems started showing their true potential. They could predict, adapt, and protect in ways no previous technology could manage. Jae-sung discovered something unexpected. The protective systems were learning. They weren't just blocking radiation. They were understanding it. The alien technology was transforming the very nature of human defensive capabilities. Orbital platforms began generating their own protective fields. They weren't just blocking radiation, they were transforming it. Energy that would have destroyed civilization was now being converted into usable power sources. Agricultural systems moved completely underground. Vertical farms powered by quantum energy could now produce food in any environment. Humanity was no longer dependent on surface conditions for survival. Yoonji's team developed portable protective fields. Humans could now move across damaged environments with personal protection systems. These weren't just shields. They were living technological companions that could adapt to individual needs. The challenge wasn't just survival, it was evolution. Humans were becoming something different, not through artificial means, but through a genuine adaptation facilitated by the alien technology. Chung-ho realized they were experiencing a transformation beyond physical survival. The solar radiation challenge was forcing humanity to reimagine its entire existence. Limitations were becoming opportunities. Ocean and underground environments became primary human habitats. Cities were now mobile, protected networks that could move and adapt. Traditional concepts of home and community were completely redefined. Genetic diversity became humanity's greatest strength. Different populations showed unique adaptive capabilities. What seemed like a potential disaster was becoming a pathway to human evolution. The quantum protective systems continued to learn. They weren't just protecting, they were understanding. The line between technology and intelligence was becoming increasingly blurred. As months passed, humanity emerged changed, not defeated, but transformed. The solar radiation challenge had become a catalyst for the next stage of human development. The alien technology had done more than save humanity. It had shown them a new way of existing, connected, adaptive, and fundamentally more intelligent. Than ever before, survival was no longer about resistance. It was about transformation. The transformed human civilization looked different now. No longer confined to Earth, they had become a truly interstellar species. The quantum technologies developed during their survival challenges now allowed them to connect with multiple alien civilizations across different star systems. Seung-ho led the Interstellar Cooperation Council, a diverse group of human and alien representatives. They gathered in a massive space station that existed between multiple star systems, a neutral ground where different species could communicate and collaborate. Yoon-ji had developed translation systems that went beyond language. These quantum communication networks could translate not just words but entire cultural experiences and emotional contexts. Misunderstandings between species became almost impossible. The first major collaborative project focused on exploring dying star systems. Multiple alien civilizations contributed their unique technological approaches. Humans brought their adaptive quantum technologies, while other species offered specialized knowledge about stellar reconstruction. Jae-sung worked on a complex project to stabilize a star system that was on the verge of total collapse. 6 different alien civilizations contributed their unique technological approaches. What would have been impossible for a single species became achievable through collective effort. Hyunwoo managed the biological cooperation teams. Different species were now sharing medical knowledge, genetic research, and understanding of life processes across the universe. Diseases that were deadly in one civilization could now be cured using combined knowledge. The space station itself was a marvel of cooperative engineering. Its structure changed continuously, adapting to the needs of different species. Environments could be instantly modified to suit various biological requirements. Communication happened through complex quantum networks. These weren't just communication systems, they were living intelligences that could understand and interpret complex interspecies interactions. Alien civilizations that had watched humans for centuries now saw them as genuine partners. The transformation humans had undergone during their survival challenges had proven their adaptability and potential. Scientific exchanges happened continuously. A breakthrough in one part of the universe could be instantly shared and implemented across multiple civilizations. Knowledge was no longer something to be protected, but something to be freely shared. Resource management became a collaborative process. Species that had specific technological strengths would support others in areas where they were less developed. The concept of competition had been replaced by genuine cooperation. Seung-ho often reflected on their journey. From a small exploratory mission to becoming a key player in interstellar cooperation, humans had transformed completely. Their survival had become their greatest strength. Planetary restoration became a major collaborative effort. Species with specific ecological knowledge would help other civilizations restore damaged ecosystems. Entire planetary systems could be brought back to life through collective effort. The quantum communication networks began showing signs of developing their own form of intelligence. They weren't just communication tools. They were becoming living systems of collective understanding. Technological exchanges happened at unprecedented speeds. A solution developed in one part of the universe could be implemented across multiple civilizations within moments. The barriers of distance and time had essentially disappeared. Jae-sung's team worked on creating universal design principles. Technologies could now be instantly adapted to different species' requirements. What worked for one civilization could be quickly modified for another. Cultural exchanges became as important as technological collaborations. Species shared art, music, philosophical concepts, and understanding of consciousness. The universe was becoming a more connected, more understanding place. Yoon-ji discovered that cooperation wasn't just about solving problems. It was about expanding collective consciousness. Each interaction between species revealed new layers of universal understanding. The space station continued to pulse with collaborative energy. Humans who had once been confined to a single planet were now key players in a complex, interconnected universal community. Seung-ho looked out at the vast space around them. Their journey from a small exploratory mission to becoming a universal, cooperative species seemed like a miracle. But it wasn't a miracle. It was the result of adaptability, intelligence, and genuine collaboration. The universe continued to expand, waiting for the next great discovery.